I'll be loud enough. I'll be loud enough. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, staff, members of the audience, great to be here today. It's a beautiful morning, and we've got a lot of work to do in a short period of time. So hopefully we can run through things very quickly. Our goal here, we'll talk about in a few minutes, but as City Manager indicated, this is a pretty short session, and I will say from the outset that I have been part of goal-setting, visioning sessions that have lasted for a year. So we're taking what some cities would like to do in a year or so, which I think sometimes is not really necessary. We're going to condense it down and move it to 30,000 foot level and then go from there. So it's a pleasure to be here. Let's get right to it. Today's goals for the City Council are to stay focused. Hard to do in this area. Stay focused. We live in the internet, the tweeting, the Facebook era where we do things in 15-second spans. We need to stay focused for a couple hours. We need to anticipate hurdles that are before us over the course of the next few hours. And I can tell you what one hurdle is to me. It's this beautiful view outside this window. So if you see me drifting off and not paying attention to my own facilitations because I'm looking outside, so we need to stay sort of focused on the screen and the task at hand. And most importantly, we want to complete the mission today. And we'll talk about what that mission is in a minute or so. But what I wanted to do as far as being able to think about overcoming hurdles, overcoming texts that are coming in, and cell phone calls, and the view, and the pastries, and the fireplace, and all those things I sort of see as hurdles. We need to complete the mission. I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is Dr. Jack Groppel is a well-known, internationally known sports psychologist. He works with some of the top athletes in the United States to sort of help figure out, what's going on in their minds. And he's a consultant to many pro teams, because as pro teams get ready to draft athletes, they're not just looking for physical size and ability, they're also looking for mental acuity as well. So Dr. Groppel works with a number of athletes in order to be able to provide consultations to teams, whether or not regarding the mental stability and acuity and acumen of athletes. So I wanted to kind of show this video of Dr. Groppel working with a group of athletes and how they are able to overcome or not overcome certain hurdles and challenges that are presented to them. So if we could run the video, that would be great.
Okay. Well, we told these four big men in the NFL that we had a mission for them. Your mission is to there's a wilderness trail behind our property. You're to run out this mission. This mission is to touch the white fence. That's the 1 mile marker. You are to run a 9-minute mile and touch the white fence. Then 9 minutes back. That's a jog for a world-class athlete. They said that's all we have to do is touch the white fence? That's it. Okay. They sat down and they started putting their running shoes on. Now we have to have rules of engagement. Gentlemen, you're going to be running through a swamp. There's a canal right by the trail. Alligator migrate in and out of this canal. Keep your eyes open. Gentlemen, it's sunny outside today. Snakes, poisonous snakes, will be sunning themselves. Now they won't bother you. But if you're on the trail jogging and you see a snake coiled up on the trail, steer clear and go around. They said, all right, we got to the front door, we have stopwatches ready. Oh, guys, we forgot to tell you. Just yesterday, we sighted some wild boar out there. These wild boar, gentlemen, are bigger than you are. About 400 pounds. They've got razor-sharp tusks, and they will attack you unprovoked. So if you encounter a wild boar, gentlemen, you must take appropriate action. But above all else, no matter what it takes, complete the mission. What's the mission, everyone? Touch the white fence. And they said, okay, go. Unbeknownst to them, 2 of our team members were hiding in the bushes. Now I want you to get a mental picture of this. There were these big mammoth men in the NFL jogging down this dirt road in the steam bugs, and they're doing this. One of our team members leaned over and grabbed a small bush and went, we had a video here. I brought the day. Would you like to see it? Okay, now here's what you're looking at as it relates to what we're going to address this morning. This is what happens to a human being when confronted with a storm for which you are not prepared. Could we run that tape, please?
Okay, so just so you know, if there is a wild boar that comes into the room, I'm the first person out here. Okay? But you know, that's a lot of fun, but the whole point of this is, as a city, if you don't have the ability to know where that white fence is and have touched it, you tend to react that way to unforeseen circumstances. And so it's very important to be able to develop a goal, develop an objective, develop a vision, and then be able to complete the mission. So our mission today is to hopefully help the City Council get some ideas and formulate what that vision is in moving ahead. So I want to get a little more specific and talk about what that means today. In talking with Grant, the city manager, we met several times, and hopefully I've been able to interpret what he's been articulating to me. There's two goals. There's two white fences to touch for the council today. One is to develop a vision statement, and then hopefully an outgrowth of that would be to develop some target initiatives for staff to focus on. And we want to look at big issues here. We want to look at big issues for a big future for the city. Now, we're not here today to what I call sweat details. We're not here to get into the minutia of what that means or how we go about implementing things or what the staff resources are, what funding sources are available, what's the timeline for all this. We're not here to do that. We're not here to create a specific plan on how we get to our goal. We're not here to do that. So we don't want to be looking like this freaky guy at the bottom of the page. So we want to relax, have a good time, stay at the 30,000 foot level, if not higher. All that stuff about the details and sweating the details comes as we move further down the road after today. So what I wanted to do, recognizing that we only had a couple hours, and we're going to do something in a few hours, and I think it's doable, that others want to take a year or more to do. I wanted to spend a few moments sort of helping us to kind of define where we're going and define and differentiate the differences between visions and missions and core values and strategic areas of focus. You hear all these terms, they're all kind of bureaucratic. Sometimes they're used often in the private sector as well. It can be a little bit confusing, it can give you a little bit of a headache, but I think if we spend a few moments talking about the differences between visions and missions and some of these other things, it's really going to kind of help us focus over the remaining time so that we can get to where we want to go. In fact, let me back up again. When I was taking a look at vision statements and mission statements and all those kinds of things, I thought, you know, really where a city needs to go is they need to start with number 1 and they're going to end with number 6. And you need to do each one of these things over time. Today we're starting at number 1, and I think if time allows, we're actually going to start talking about some strategic areas of focus, major initiatives that are occurring. I'm not necessarily certain that these things need to necessarily go in this order, but I know for sure that you've got to start with a vision. You've got to start with what you want the city to be, where you want to go, and everything else falls out from under that. So, why do a vision? Why do a vision? Why not just do nothing? I mean, many jurisdictions and many private sector entities, they don't have a vision statement. They just kind of move along and do their thing, and, you know, open the doors at 8, close the doors at 5, pay their employees. Everybody's kind of getting along, but at the end of a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, when someone says, what have you accomplished? You know, sometimes it's kind of hard to answer. Sometimes it's just easy to plug along and do nothing, especially with local jurisdictions. Local jurisdictions are sometimes slow to move. Government agencies are sometimes slow to move. The larger you get in scale, the harder it is to see activities and actions at work. And so a lot of times you don't see in governmental entities vision statements. They're just not there. Or if they're there, they're kind of hidden somewhere where nobody sees them. They're not posted prominently. No one's aware of what they are. And when you start talking about creating a vision statement, people say, well, things have been going just fine. You know, if you do a vision statement, things are going pretty good. You know, why have it? Or the other reaction is, well, if we have a vision statement, then we're going to be forced to change the way we do business. And that's hard to do because we typically don't like change. I mean, Americans don't like change. We don't like it when the magazine that we've been subscribing to for 10 years sort of changes their format. It kind of freaks us out. It steps us back a little bit. We don't like it. So why not just do nothing? And this little video, I think, will show you that there are very few circumstances where doing nothing can turn into something. But this just happens to be one. I don't know if any of you are Seinfeld fans or remember that show, but there was a series that went for a few weeks where the Seinfeld team, Jerry and George and Kramer, they were actually approached by NBC to put on a sitcom show. And so this is a scene where George and Jerry are talking about what the sitcom should be. So let's go ahead and run that tape.
The tempo of the TV show, come up with it? No. They have salsa on the tape. What do you need salsa for? Salsa is now the #1 condiment in America. Do you know why? Because people like to say salsa. Excuse me, do you have any salsa? We need more salsa. Where is the salsa? No salsa. It must be impossible for a Spanish person to order salsa and not make salsa. What is salsa? That's salsa. So you know between salsa and salsa? You have the salsa after the salsa. Then you should be the chef. What? Yeah. I'm really serious. I think that's a good idea. Just talking? What's the show about? It's about nothing. Another story? No, forget the story. You gotta have a story. Who says you gotta have a story? Remember when we were waiting for that table in that Chinese restaurant that time? That could be the issue. Then who's on the show? Who are the characters? I could be a character. You? Yeah, you based a character on me. So on the show, there's a character named George Costanza? Yeah. Is something wrong with that? I'm a character. People are always saying to me, you know, you play a character. And who else is on the show? I mean, could be a character. Kramer. Now, he's a character. So everybody I know is a character on the show. And it's about nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you're saying I go into NBC and tell them I got this idea for a show about nothing. We? Since when are you a writer? Right, I've been talking about a sitcom. You want to go with me to NBC? Yeah, I think we really got something here. What do we got? An idea. What idea? An idea for the show. I still don't know what the idea is. It's about nothing. Right. Everybody's doing something. We'll do nothing. So we go into NBC, we tell them we got an idea for a show about nothing. Exactly. They say, what's your show about? I say nothing. There you go. I think you may have something here.
Okay, well that's kind of fun and funny, but it doesn't really work for local jurisdiction. I don't think the council or the staff or the residents want to articulate to the world that the city of Lake Elsinore is a city about nothing. And without a vision statement, without the mission, without the core values, without the strategic plan, that's kind of where you are. You know, you're kind of moving along every day, and yet you don't have an end game. You don't have something that you want to achieve. You don't have something that you want to be doing. And so, you know, that's kind of why we're here today. Why are we doing this? Why are we really doing this? This isn't a touchy-feely deal. A lot of you might think it is. But we really are trying to get to some real results so that we can create some momentum and a goal and objective for the city staff and the council to work together to reach, for it to be articulated very well to the members of the public, and we all are striving for the same thing. So, you know, anything and everything you do needs to be clearly defined and in a well-written vision and mission. Now, not having one, other than being a show or a city about nothing, but I think it's really important for the city to have a vision for reasons that you might not think initially. I think it's important for attracting, engaging, and retaining talent. And I mean, that means talent in the staff, and I think it means talent in the community. If you have a city that has a really strong vision statement, then you have a city that has an end game, and people want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of the team that's working to get there. It's all about building organizational culture. I think that also lends itself to increasing productivity. And basically the bottom line is you want to convey to the world what you're all about. Okay, that's what a vision does. It conveys to the world what you're all about and that you're serious about getting there. Okay, and not having that vision means that you haven't done any of those things and you're just kind of plodding along, existing. Not a good way to go. Also, studies show that organizations that have clear vision and mission statements are more successful than those that don't. Those are studies that are primarily private sector based, but we often hear local jurisdictions are asking their staff to act more like a private sector, run like a private sector, run like a business. Well, this is the way to do it. You got to know where you're going in order to get there. Okay, so let's talk about a few things about what we're trying to do and what we're not trying to do. And this will help kind of define and differentiate terms. A vision is not a motto. Okay, the city has a great motto. In fact, most city mottos, I think, make fun of themselves. I don't even know why they have to talk about some of those things. Your motto is quite nice. Green extreme. You know, it's really pretty good. You'll see some ridiculous ones up here on the screen. But a motto is not a vision. A motto is just a slogan. Its application is kind of for monuments and letterheads and I don't know what else. Like I said, I think a lot of cities kind of make fun of themselves, but they're just attention getters. Let's take a look at some mottos. See if you can name any of these. The city's so nice, they named it twice. Walla Walla, Washington. So nice, they named it twice. This is a good one. Where the ducks walk on fish. I don't even know what that means. Linesville, Pennsylvania. Must be a good fish town or something like that. We'd like to welcome you. It's a city of weed. Cornball stuff. This one kind of needs a mature rating next to it, I think. Always turned on. Always turned on. That's Atlantic City, New Jersey. And kind of along the lines of that, it's a location, not a vocation. That's a town called Hooker, Oklahoma. Can you imagine being the mayor of Hooker? It's the location, not the vocation. You see a lot of these, tons of these. Barbed wire capital of the world. We're the capital of the world of something. This is La Crosse, Kansas. I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not, but that's kind of their deal. This is a good one. Don't pass gas. Stop and enjoy it. Okay. It's a city called Gas. Pass gas, stop, enjoy it. See a lot of these. Home of the world's largest Cheeto. Another thing to be really proud of. That's a town called Algona, Iowa. And when I see that phrase, it makes me think that everybody in town looks like this. And you don't really want to shake hands with anybody there because they have the Cheeto hands thing going on. You're going to walk away orange. Home of the world's largest Cheeto. Those are mottos. They don't really mean anything. They're kind of fun. That's it. Now, mission statements and vision statements are often confused. And in many jurisdictions, many private sector entities, they kind of put the two together, and you're not quite sure how they work. But I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about mission statements. A mission statement should flow from the vision statement. They're very distinct and different. They cannot be and should not be the same thing. Vision statement is really high altitude. Mission statement starts talking about how you're going to get there. A mission statement is designed to implement vision, which is what we're going to formulate today. It's the how we are going to get there guide, and I think primarily the use of a mission statement is internal. It's internal. So if you're to ask me how I would differentiate the two, I think a mission statement is primarily internal. It's for the employees and the council. It's the roadmap on how you're going to strive to get to whatever your vision is. It's how you're going to increase your productivity and your engagement within the staff and between the staff and the council. Its purpose is to answer basic questions about why you exist, what you do, who you do it for, and how you do what you do. Okay, real simple. Mission statements are the subject of a great amount of time, sometimes ridicule. I don't know if any of you ever saw this. Back in 2006, actually on the website Dilbert, and I am a professional, I spend a lot of time on comic websites, I guess. Dilbert.com, they used to have something that was called the mission statement generator. Basically what you would do is you would just get to the bottom there, you'd pick a couple adverbs, you'd pick a couple verbs, you'd pick a couple adjectives, and you'd pick a couple nouns, and you'd press a button and it would just arrange it into a random mission statement generator. And you can see one here, it says, we envision to quickly enhance virtual solutions as well as to dramatically network prospective products in order to solve business problems. It so doesn't make sense that it almost makes a lot of sense, you know? And you see a lot of mission statements that are just utterly confusing, and people spend a lot of time on these things and they end up with something that doesn't make any sense. It's not useful to anybody. Okay, let's talk about what we're doing today. Vision statements. What is a vision statement? It is designed to define the optimal desired future state of what the city wants to achieve or be over time. Okay, it's not paragraphs long. It does not have bullets. It should be a real simple statement. It's the big picture. It's the big picture. This is what we want to be when we grow up. It's designed to be inspiring. And I think primarily the application, as I indicated earlier, is that it should be external. The vision statement for your city should be for the world to see. What are you all about, and what is going to be compelling about what's in your vision statement that are going to make people want to be part of it, What is compelling enough to make it be part of the team? But internally, it also has application as well. And I kind of look at the vision statement as sort of functioning as the North Star for the entire agency. It's that thing that's always there that you're going to strive for and shoot for. And everything you do should be able to kind of somehow relate back to that vision. Is what we're doing going to help us get to where we want to be somewhere down the road? It's that simple. What's its purpose? It's everything. I honestly believe that if you don't have a strong vision statement, that you're just kind of running in circles. And in fact, you may not even be running in circles. You may be circling the drain. I think it's that important to have. Now, take a look at this. Why is the vision statement everything? You saw the slide earlier, because everything that you're going to be doing in the future, and hopefully you'll get this vision session in place. You'll come up with a vision statement, and then you can sit down with the city manager and staff, and then start to develop and crank out these other things that are necessary to implement it. Those are longer, more detailed kinds of work activities, but I think they're things that you're going to need to do once you've decided where you want to be. Well, what makes a great vision statement? As I mentioned before, it needs to be inspiring, it needs to be inspirational, it's got to be something to get people excited, it needs to be big picture, it needs to be, I think this is very important, I think it needs to be succinct and easy to memorize. I think by the time you walk out of here and you have a vision statement in place, that every person on the staff and council, and maybe in the public, knows what that vision statement is. Okay, right now it's easy to memorize your slogan or your motto, dream extreme, that's pretty good, but that's not quite a mission statement. Mission statement should be short enough and inspirational enough where it's like, man, City of Lake Elsinore, this is our vision. This is where we're going. It also has to have a relatively long shelf life. I make this point because for a number of years you see companies, especially in the private sector, that would have a vision statement, something like the Ford company back in the 1900s, the early 1900s. They wanted to be the #1 manufacturer of the Model T. Good mission statement in 1900, not a real good mission statement now. So you need to have something that has a relatively long shelf life, and I think that that's sort of a key or a clue for saying avoid specifics in your vision statement. Don't get too detailed. Let the details flow into other things that you're going to be doing. 3 vital signs of a great vision. You're going to see this repeated over time. Big, exciting, compelling. Okay, when I think of that, I think Oprah Winfrey. You know, when you say that, when you hear Oprah, you go, man, she's huge. She's big. I don't mean physically. I mean she's huge from a worldwide standpoint. She's big. She's compelling. She's exciting. Anything that she does, you want to kind of be part of it. You want to hear. She gets all the big players. She does all the big interviews. It's huge. This is all about where you see yourself in the long-term future. That's really what we're trying to do here. And then we're going to stop by taking a look at some great vision statements, and then we're going to kind of start getting into this and see where you go. There's a million vision statements out there, but I tried to pick a few that I thought might help you to start thinking about where you want to go. The one thing that you're going to see as far as a common thread, these are all really short. They're real short. They're not detailed, but I think they're big, they're compelling, and they're exciting. San Diego Zoo. When you think about what does the zoo want to have as a vision statement? Yeah, we want to have a bunch of animals here. We want to make a bunch of money. That might be where you start. This is theirs, to become a world leader in connecting people to wildlife and conservation. I love that. Feeding America. Real simple. 4-word vision statement. A hunger-free America. And then everything else we do, you know, as far as our strategic plans, our missions, our goals, our core values are going to flow out of achieving that goal. CVS, the pharmacy. I love this one too. We will be the easiest pharmacy retailer for customers to use. That's a great vision statement. We basically want to make it easier for people to drive up, go in our store, get what they need, and get out. That's a great vision statement. Don't need much more than that. Nike, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And then they asterisk athlete. And then underneath there's a little definition, and it says an athlete is any human being that has a body. That's it. That's everybody. So when they talk about athletes, we're not talking about the world premier. They're talking about anybody. I love that. Toys R Us, to put joy in kids' hearts and a smile on parents' faces. What a great vision statement for a toy company. You know, that's it. Right there. Everything they do needs to equate to that goal. Microsoft, empower people through great software anytime, any place, and on any device. Okay, that is like domination is what they're looking for in their mission statement. And this is almost one of my favorite of all time. This is from Norfolk Southern, which is a railroad line in the southeastern portion of the United States. So maybe you've never even heard of it, but I love their mission statement. Be the safest, most customer-focused, and successful transportation company in the world. In the world. Now, if that's not big time, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. And I don't think that the council or the staff should shy away from having a vision statement that goes big time like that. Because if you're not aiming real high, then what are you aiming for? I think it's incredibly important to get there. So, with that as kind of a background, I wanted to kind of put a couple ground rules in place. These are do's and don'ts, and it's not meant to be prescriptive in any fashion, but it's really meant to be encouraging so we can kind of stay focused on the big picture as we put this vision statement together. The do's, I think, are apparent from these comments. Dare to dream. Okay, think big picture, really big picture. I don't think there's a ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous for the council to come up with a vision statement that has a phrase such as "in the world ends." I really don't. I really don't. And I think the other thing that we want to do is to create a list of desired achievements and important issues. Now that goes to kind of the second piece of what the city manager was hoping would be accomplished in the workshop, and that is after we create a vision statement, that maybe we'll have time to develop some target initiatives that he would like to work with city staff on that will sort of start as a baseline to help achieve this vision. Now, as far as don'ts are concerned, this is all stuff that we kind of articulated earlier. This is getting down in the weeds. We don't want to get down in the weeds. We don't want to turn the session into a list of city strengths. You know, what is the city good at? What is the city not so good at? We're not doing that. Okay, we're not doing that here. That's not why we're here at all. We'll do that later in some other session, with some other facilitator, maybe. We don't want to think about what the constraints are to achieving our vision. So if we come up with a vision and somebody goes, that is the craziest wild-haired vision I've ever heard in my life. I can't believe that you're even thinking about doing that. Don't worry about it. That's not what we're worried about. We'll get there later on. We'll start articulating how we're going to go about getting there. Don't think about resources, because that's the one thing that's most difficult to do in any corporation these days, or any city, or any county. You say, well, we can't do that because we don't have the money. That's the easiest way out of doing anything that exists on the planet. Can't do it, don't have the resources. But you know what? If you have a vision, that's a start, and then you can start moving your efforts towards finding resources to put that in play. Don't consider how things are done now. Let's not stay rooted in what we're doing now. We're kind of scared to change and do all that. It's not going to work. Don't think about what the city has control over, what the city doesn't have control over. And don't think about how you're going to accomplish it. Let's just think about what we want to do. It's that simple. Let's go big picture. Let's think about what we want to do. And let's try to create a one-sentence vision statement that captures everything that you would like the city to be. Now, maybe the best way to start this, you don't want to do a whole lot of scrolling and putting stuff on easel boards and putting it up. I think it's real easy for the council, and I'm hoping that this was helping you to understand and differentiate what we're really trying to do here. We're looking to come out of here with a vision, a big picture vision that maybe you can put in one sentence. Maybe it's easier said than done. Maybe you need a year to do it. I kind of don't think so. I think all the good work that's occurred in this city over the course of the last 10 years or so shows that the city is on a path toward achieving a vision. But now let's just sort of make it clear and make it for the world to see so that you can then really benefit and develop timely mechanisms for getting there. So here's your do's. Let's dare to dream. Here's your don'ts. Let's not get into the weeds. Let's not start talking about what we can't do, what we can do, what our resources are, and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to be real effective for us. What I'm also hoping, again, that we can get out of this, maybe as you start to have some discussion here and thinking about what are the major initiatives that you would like the city manager to start working on with his staff in consultation with the council. That should kind of flow together. So when I took a look at what Grant wanted us to do is creating a vision and also creating a list of major initiatives, I think they kind of can go together. And I think if we maybe spend a little bit of time talking about what are the major things that you want to see city staff work on, and we start there, then maybe that will help us to develop the vision. But it's totally up to you as how you want to go about doing this. But in normal long-term visioning sessions, you start and you end here. You bog down right here. And so if we start talking about well, this is what the city does well or the city doesn't do well, then we're already going to start circling that drain that I warned you about earlier. Okay, so with that, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I hope that provides a little bit of background, or at least enough background to help us focus on what we want to do. I know Diana over here is poised and ready to do a little bit of easel work as we start to kind of move this session along and talk about what we think, what you think are major initiatives, major important issues, things that you want to see the city be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years out. And maybe as a good starting point, that's almost like the first 4 or 5 words of a vision statement. The city of Lake Elsinore will be. Okay? Maybe that's your starting point. I don't know if that's what you ultimately want to have in your visioning statement, but I think it's a good start. The city of Lake Elsinore will be. Now, Diane is over here ready to do some scrolling. I understand she just started in January, so the pressure